Welcome back, everybody. I'm Carl Matsumoto.
I'm Josiah Matsumoto.
And this is Motorsport. With us always is Jared, on-air producer extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire.
Air.
Hello.
Hello. All the way from Minnesota.
Yes.
So far.
All the way up here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're spanning the Midwest region.
Absolutely.
These days.
Taking it over state by state.
State by state.
I love it. So, Suzuka this week.
Suzuka.
I love Japan. The Japanese Grand Prix is so fun.
The fans are amazing.
The fans.
They're...
The hats.
The hats that they create are
the outfits.
Wild.
Just the enthusiasm overall for every single driver.
The detail.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So truly incredible. I love it. Nothing like it. Yeah, it's fun. Not to mention it twists over itself, so you get a clockwise and a counterclockwise portion of the circuit, which is interesting.
Totally.
Yeah, the track itself is so interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And it really seems like it's like every driver's favorite track, or they at least like really enjoy driving at Suzuka.
It does seem that way. They're all like, oh yeah, this is my favorite place. They all had special helmets. They all were doing fun things.
Yeah.
Building bee hotels and such.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
Right. Shout out Sebastian Vettel.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Big winner this week.
Mm-hmm.
The bees.
The bees.
The bees.
The environment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Some quick maintenance. Housekeeping. Great. Follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe. Motorsport Pod. Wherever you're listening to this right now, just hit that subscribe button. And then also give us a review. We want to hear your feedback. What do you like? What do you hate? And then give us 5 stars no matter what. Also, follow us on social medias at Motorsport Pod across the board. Send us your questions and feedback at motorsportpod@gmail.com. And that's
important.
it.
Important to get that com.
Yeah, do not send it to gmail.org. We will not see that email.
Gmail.gov.
.gov.
Not a thing.
Don't want to mess around with that.
All right. Has the house been kept?
I think the house has been kept. It is maintained.
It's tidy?
It is tidy.
It's clean?
It is clean.
Okay, very good.
As fuck.
Well then, let's move on to the news. Zoom in the news. I mean, we already touched on, I don't have much news. You'll probably have more in the headlines, but I
got some headlines.
Yeah. I mostly wanted to talk about Sebastian Vettel and his bee hotels because I thought that was incredible.
So fun.
And Sebastian, of all the drivers, loves Suzuka so much. He always talks about how much he loves Suzuka.
Funny.
So I think it's just funny that he showed up and he got all of the drivers to do basically like an arts and crafts project.
Literally. I love it. They're like, oh, Seb's doing it? I'm on board. Let's do it.
The only driver who could you imagine any other driver being able to get the other drivers to be like, yeah, come paint these bee hotels at turn 2.
Could you imagine Fernando Alonso doing anything to get drivers together? Anything.
Yeah, I don't imagine Fernando doing it, but if he did, people would go, I feel like.
So people would go. Would everyone go? I don't know.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, Esteban Ocon specifically would not show up.
Yeah.
Out of protest.
Correct. There was no drivers missing.
No.
They were all there.
Everyone. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone.
They were all there. They were, like, putting little hay bales in those homes.
So cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah.
I feel like there's often events that every driver does in the cities they go to.
Yeah.
And it's not often that it's all of them doing it.
No.
Right. Not
like they all have their separate little things.
All together. Yeah, right? They all do their own thing. They all have events they have to go to.
Mm-hmm.
But like this was just so
So wholesome.
So wholesome, so heartwarming. Yeah.
And Seb with his disheveled hair.
I know.
He's like, I don't care. I'm an environmentalist. I don't shampoo my hair.
Well, he stopped shampooing years ago.
It's true.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that was great. The Buzz-In Corner is what it was called.
Buzz-In Corner.
I know, right?
Turn 2? Is that what it was?
Turn 2. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sure. That's funny. So good. Glad nobody crashed into it.
Right? That would have been
true.
A big lose for the Bees. That would have been so bad.
Can you imagine?
Horrible.
Wow.
It would have been Lance Stroll, let's be honest. He just would have gone barreling through this bee hotel. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So funny.
Speaking of Seb, Yuki was quoted saying that Seb should take Helmut Marko's job.
Ooh.
I saw that.
I agree.
That'd be a great idea.
Definitely.
Please.
Great idea.
Great idea. Yes.
Really great idea. I think Seb cares. He just cares. He cares about the future of the planet. He cares about the young ones coming up in the sport.
The young ones.
He obviously has the experience, 4 championships under his belt. He knows what it takes to be a good driver on different teams. Like, yeah, he'd be great for that.
Be a great fit.
Yeah. Plus, he won he won the Red Bull championships, the first 4 Red Bull.
Oh, yeah, he makes sense with Red Bull.
Totally.
Red Bull legacy, yeah.
Exactly. Man, yeah, get Helmut Marko out of here, please.
Yeah, seriously.
So done with him.
Yeah.
He's so obnoxious.
When I saw Yuki said that, I was like, would make so much sense in every way.
Kind of brilliant.
Right? Yuki with the ideas.
Put Yuki in charge.
You know what? Give Yuki that job. Yeah,
right? We're here for it. Yeah. It'd be great.
Oh, man. And then speaking of Yuki and Daniel were confirmed for 2024 as AlphaTauri's drivers. Liam Lawson will be the reserve driver. So,
what are our thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it should have been Liam and Yuki, but
I mean, I thought it should be Nick DeFries and Yuki, if I'm being honest.
that ship sailed a long time ago.
They're not bringing him back.
That was still a bad choice, but
I agree.
I just, I don't know. I could see them already having promised it to
Daniel,
but
they didn't.
Right?
How do you know?
Like,
well, they hadn't promised it to him.
It wasn't official for sure, but
Yeah.
was it implied or said at some point? I could respect them honoring that. So that's my only thing of like, maybe that's fine. But I think the call isn't the right one for the team.
agreed.
Like, I think Liam Lawson would do better.
Well, because he has done better.
Literally.
Already.
But the other thing I'm thinking is, does Liam Lawson have something else he's working on? Because I think other teams would be
totally
primed to pick him up. So he might even be in talks elsewhere already. Who knows?
Two things on that note
Josiah
that
has
I've
some
seen.
theories.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. Theory 1 is Williams might pick him up.
Liam
Lawson, because I think Sargent is the only remaining driver without a contract for next season. So that would be the only spot available. I'm pretty sure. But I did see something that there's strong rumors suggesting that Red Bull has guaranteed Liam Lawson an F1 seat in 2025.
Okay.
As long as he stays as a reserve driver for 24.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I
that
know
will play
that
into this decision too.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I know that they're trying to get Checo out of that seat. That's got to be the whole reason. And I think the main reason they wanted Ricciardo in the AlphaTauri seat is to make that switch happen sometime during next season.
Switch Checo and Ricciardo.
Checo and Danny. Yeah. And it might even happen between seasons. Who knows? But because they do that a lot. They're known for making that type of switch.
Yes.
And doing it at weird times. And so I think they want Daniel in a car so that it's easier to make that decision if and when they decide Checo didn't have a good enough race for them, honestly.
Yeah, but like to me, Liam or Yuki is a better option than Daniel. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
this
I
is what
kind
I
of
don't
agree.
get.
But you had a good point. You said that they don't necessarily want someone who will
Yeah.
challenge Max. So Daniel
They
Yeah.
want a
would be
really solid number 2 that'll
Who's
work
Right.
with the team.
great for your brand.
who's great for
because-
your brand and who will follow orders and just like they're not
Yeah.
early in their career striving to win a
Yeah.
championship.
And like, I know Daniel would like to strive to do that, but I don't think he's going to. I don't
Yeah.
think he has the capability to take that fight to Max, but he does have the capability to stay close enough where it's not a liability
Right.
the way
To
that
the
they're
team.
treating Checo. You know, plus the world loves him, America loves him, and it's good
Mhm.
for PR.
Yeah.
So I think that's the big reason why they would want Daniel in the seat instead. And he's worked with the team for a long time. He was big for their brand for a long time. He helped bring the American audience into the sport, and all of the Red Bull fans are fans because of Daniel, not because of Max.
The American Red Bull.
American Red
Yeah.
Bull fans, yeah.
Yes.
Um, When that's not 100% true, obviously Max does a lot for the team.
Yeah.
So I don't want to.
Max contributes here and there.
Yeah, I don't want to take that away from him, but I think that people fell in love with the character of Daniel Ricciardo
Oh, absolutely.
because of Drive to Survive, and like, yeah,
And that's what I'm always saying on here is like we all love the character of Daniel Ricciardo.
yeah,
He's just not the
He's just
deserving
not-
driver in a lot of these
No.
situations.
Yeah.
I don't know.
he's not, and yeah, in the few races that they've all had a chance to show their worth, he's shown the least amount of worth
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
to me. So yeah, I mean, I think Liam should have gotten that seat for sure, and keep Daniel on as a reserve.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
They are saying Liam Lawson 25 for Red Bull.
No, I haven't seen that confirmed directly from Red Bull, but there are
Okay. Those
there's
rumors.
sources saying that, and I think that that's a likely situation because Checo has a contract through next year,
Yeah.
and so
But
Right.
they're gonna. We can get into that when we talk about the race.
yes, but I think what they're gonna do is not drop him completely from their roster. I think if they're gonna move him next year, it'll be to AlphaTauri, and they'll move up Daniel, and then after that, they'll kick Checo to the curb and bring up Liam.
Bring Liam to
AlphaTauri.
AlphaTauri.
Or theoretically to Red Bull, but I think it'll be AlphaTauri,
Yeah.
or whatever it's called
Interesting.
at that time, because it will no longer
Yeah.
be
Hugo
called.
Boss.
Boss car.
Interesting. We'll see.
Right. Strange.
Very confusing. Very complicated.
Yeah, they're just doing weird things because they can.
I mean, I guess
Honestly.
if you got two teams, you might as well.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
why
they have
not?
two
There's nothing
teams,
else interesting.
And they only need points from one driver.
Yeah, right.
Literally.
They can do whatever they want with the rest.
Yeah,
of them.
the other three are like, whatever.
So
Let's just
funny.
shuffle them
play
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the one that's going to win us the constructors and the drivers every year, anyways. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
As long as we keep that lead that we got from cheating, then we're good.
So you don't think that Liam would take? Do you think that Liam would take the Williams seat if he was
Not-
offered?
I don't know, because I think I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't even know if he can. I don't know what his contract is like. But if I'm Liam, I'd take that Williams seat for sure,
Right?
because that's a team on the rise.
That's
And
true.
Alex has been
Williams-
doing
It would
so
be-
good.
yeah.
And you have the chance
different
to
joining
develop.
Williams now than a year ago, or any time in the last 5 years. It's more
Right.
worth it now than ever. Yeah.
Totally.
Definitely. And you have the opportunity to just be on the grid. And that's always better
Yep.
than not being on the grid,
Right.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I just really could see him holding out for an offer from a better team. Is the
Yeah.
only thing. And I think that's true if they try and keep him on AlphaTauri too. I think he gets out if they don't get him up to Red Bull.
Sure. Sure. So you don't think he would take the AlphaTauri in seat in 2020?
I think he would. I
But
think
then
he would
just-
right now and continue. But I
Sure.
think if they have him out for a little bit, he's going to be looking for other contracts besides AlphaTauri.
Sure.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I hope so, honestly.
Right?
He deserves it. He
Mhm.
deserves
I
to be
think
on the
he's
grid.
really showing very well right now.
It's
I'm just like,
Wild.
Yeah, it is really
he's
wild.
got to have
Yeah.
offers coming.
The rookies this year have really, really impressive. Oscar and him specifically, like, wow.
Not Sargent.
Not Sargent, no.
No,
And DeVries wasn't that bad. That's like
no, he
the
was
surprising part.
Yeah.
right.
He's just in the worst car on the grid.
Yeah,
Anyway.
He didn't do Daniel did not do better than DeVries did in that car.
no,
No.
At all.
no. Liam Lawson did, but
Liam Lawson did better than both of them. Yeah.
it was just Liam and Yuki have done good things with the car. Nobody else.
Nobody else, yeah.
Nobody. Yeah. So that's fun. Any other?
That's really all I had.
All right, cool.
Move
Then
on.
let's move on to get the heck out of my headlines. Hey man, get the heck out of my headlines. First up, Max Verstappen's friends get vocal about his problematic behavior and lack of consequences.
His friends? Sounds like
Uh,
bad friends.
Right? And it's
Well,
Formula
I don't
One
know.
friends.
Oh.
Yeah.
mm,
And it's not like this is just his behavior on track in Singapore. Because he had 3 penalties that should have been penalized. None
Yeah.
of them were.
right.
Sure.
So that's what this is referencing.
But that's the FIA's fault.
It's fully the FIA's fault. Yeah. But yeah, some people, it's a weird headline. That's the point. Yeah.
So who are the friends?
Yeah. The friends are like Lando and Charles Leclerc. You know,
Okay.
Oh, sure.
those are his friends. I mean, and they're friends. They're all friends. They came up in the
So-
sport together.
Wait, this is a headline that I think is just from them saying like, yeah, Max should have gotten a penalty or something
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. Oh, I
And
see.
it's a problem that the FIA is inconsistent about these things because he should have been penalized for them the way that other drivers have been. And
Fully.
the fact that he's not means that everyone's going to have a problem now if they are penalized because it's all inconsistent.
Yeah, I
Fully
just don't
agree.
think
Not
that's
his
how
fault.
we're using the word problematic these days.
Right. It
Like
Yeah.
the headline implies something way different.
totally. It infers
Completely different.
Yeah, it infers that he's being a problematic person to his
His
friends
friends.
and other people outside of Formula One,
Yeah.
Yeah.
outside of racing.
It's just the other drivers think he should have gotten penalties.
Yeah, they're like, oh no, you should have gotten a penalty for that. And he should have.
Yeah.
He should have.
But that was just them watching the race. Like
Yeah,
that
literally.
was true. Huh.
Right? Yeah. Max Verstappen's friends get vocal about his problematic behavior and a lack of consequences. So real.
Wow. Speaking up,
Wow.
using their platform.
Right? Oh, man. There are probably things that headline would make sense for. This was not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
one.
I was gonna
Absolutely.
accept whatever happened, but that
Yeah.
would be much worse.
This one's just fun. 38-year-old Lewis Hamilton becomes a child for a day with new friend on the paddock.
Whoa.
With new friend on the paddock.
Yeah. Him and Esteban Ocon raced some remote control cars in the paddock.
I saw
Oh,
that.
sure. That's what that's referring
That's
to.
what that's referring
And the
to.
new friend is
I guess
Ocon?
Esteban Ocon. Yeah.
They never met before.
Right.
I know, right?
That's what I was like, wait, there's only 20 drivers here every year. They've both been racing for a long time.
Several years.
Yeah. That's so
New
funny.
friend. The use of friends.
I
This
know.
round a headline is interesting.
Maybe it's because of Seb getting everyone together. They're all friends.
They're all
Yeah.
friends now.
I wonder if there's
Honest-
some quote where someone said the word friend and now all these headlines like pulled it, or I don't know.
Totally.
Right?
They're like, ooh, that's fun. We're gonna use it.
Yeah.
Friend.
Yeah. No, it was cute though. I went back and watched like the video of 7-year-old Lewis on the news racing remote control cars, and he's super serious and he's like, yeah, I've been doing it about a year now. Like, it's so cute. It's adorable.
Just like stone cold, no expression, not making eye contact
No.
with the interviewer, fully just racing
So
his remote
focused.
control.
Yeah, and everyone around him is also young, but they're like twice his height because they're all 12 and he's 7.
Right.
So funny. And he wins.
Of course.
Oh, great. But yeah, so glad he got to have fun again.
With a friend,
Yeah.
a new friend.
With a new friend.
With a new friend in Ocon. Yeah. Amazing. A year after failing to buy $60 game, Nintendo nerd Lewis Hamilton seems to give another try to his gaming desire.
Okay, so I do just want to immediately say I think every game from Nintendo costs $60. It's like
Right.
everything I look at, anything of their property, it's
It is weird
I
to
was gonna
say
say-
failing to buy a $60 game makes it sound like he didn't have $60.
he didn't
Like-
have it on him.
Yeah, a year ago, he couldn't afford a $60
I-
game, and he seems to give it another try this year. That's like what the headline says,
Right.
basically.
It's gotta be like he's looking for a rare game, or he was going for one that sold out too fast.
It honestly, it doesn't even specify that in the article. I read the whole thing and I
What?
couldn't figure it out.
It didn't say what game it was?
No, it says last year in Canada and Montreal, he tried to buy a Mario Kart. However, he failed to buy the $60 item back then. It doesn't say why. It doesn't say what kind of Mario
What
Kart.
is this obsession with the $60 price
I
if
have
they're
no
all
idea.
$60?
They're
It's not like
literally, and Mario Kart is one of them. I paid $60 for that game.
There you go.
yeah.
So I don't know if it was like a reporter asked him what he was buying and he was like, oh, I don't know, maybe Mario Kart or something. And that's what they're pulling from. I'm not sure. I could not figure it out. But anyway, he was just seen in another Nintendo store in Japan. That's all that happened. And then they decided to create this headline because he was seen in a Nintendo store in Montreal last year.
Okay.
That's the
All right.
whole article.
Maybe last year he goes in. This is what my prediction is of what actually happened. Last year in Montreal, there's some footage. People saw him in a Nintendo store of some kind there. He walked out. Somebody asked him, like, oh, what'd you get? And he was like, they didn't have what I wanted. And then this year, they just saw him in a Nintendo store. That's what I'm guessing this whole story is.
That's
so
yeah, that
He's
sounds
giving it another
exactly
shot.
right. Yeah.
that's and because every game costs $60, they just assume they're like, well, we got to put the price
Yeah.
in the headline for some
Right.
reason.
'Cause it makes
So
it
we'll say
interesting.
$60 game,
Everything
even though-
about F1 is about money.
right?
Yes, true.
He can't afford a $60 game in 2022, so he's gonna try again this year. What?
2023 is Lewis Hamilton's year to buy a $60 Nintendo
Yeah.
game.
So silly. Did you see the photo though? He was like had a Toad hat on in the Nintendo store. It was funny.
Oh, I didn't see
Cute.
that.
Oh yeah, look it up. It was fun. It's just the back of him.
Right. Right.
So funny. Anyways, okay, one more. Yeah, one more headline. Verstappen. I don't know who came up with that, but I don't like it. That's the headline.
title.
That's the headline.
Okay.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I know what this is
Yeah,
about.
I already brought it up to you, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the podcast. It's
Yeah,
the Max Verstappen
Max
podcast,
Verstappen podcast.
aka the Cool Down Room.
Ooh,
Yeah.
he said that.
Yeah, well, so yeah, if
but
you don't
it's very taken
I
out of
know.
Yeah. if if listeners don't know, there's a little bit of culture going around that the cooling room, the F1 cooling room post race, is now just the Max Verstappen podcast because he's always there, and he's the only person that's always there. So it's just his podcast. Granted, they don't talk much in this room, almost never.
No, but there's always memes every week of like they put a podcast table in front of him and mics in front of everyone. And
Oh, funny! I haven't even seen that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I think that's where it kind of started, and then I think it's meme culture that announcers took and ran with. And now everyone just says it.
And now the drivers also say, like, Lando is like,
they're into it.
Great. It was great to be on
the Max Verstappen podcast.
I think he literally shared like a meme that they like made of it.
That's amazing.
Happy to be
so
here.
Apparently Verstappen said, I don't know who came up with that, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's not even the full quote. The quote was just that he doesn't listen to podcasts. He just doesn't like podcasts.
Oh,
that's it.
Right.
So sorry, Max, you won't ever be on this podcast.
Yeah.
You weren't invited.
You weren't invited anyway.
You're not invited. If you really, really want to come on, you can submit and we'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll consider.
Yes, submit an application.
Yes.
Yes.
The process will be about as complicated as Andretti's process to get another team.
Yeah.
Although there's progress being made there. Apparently the FIA has officially rejected all the other bids, but Andretti's is moving forward for now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, possibility. Could be an Andretti Cadillac team.
Funny, a Cadillac team.
Right,
That's
right.
really funny.
Yeah. Well, that was part of their bid, like, to strengthen their bid. They were like, well, we're going to bring a new engine provider and someone like an American engine provider and make it a super American team because that's where the interest is right now. And it's not a bad idea. We'll see. All right. Speed round.
Speed round.
Speed round. While unhappy with Oscar Piastri's effect on him, Lando Norris fires two-worded warning about McLaren dynamic. Dio Albon tipped for stunning move to top F1
Hamilton.
seat. Something's up if Red Bull doesn't dominate at Suzuka. Gasly wants a smaller cockpit in 2024 Alpine F1 car compared to long arms Ocon. Verstappen, quote, "You're not a real fan if you don't appreciate Red Bull F1 dominance." Alpine created needless tension with complete joke. Gasly ordered. Sainz laughing in the car as Mercedes repeated DRS trick. In
F1
Japan,
driver
Charles Leclerc's balcony terrace is the epitome of Monaco chic. Experts love his elegant style. 5 days after winning his first race of the season, Carlos Sainz drops any hope of adding spice to Japanese Grand Prix. Give it a smooch! Japanese Grand Prix winner will get a kiss-activated trophy. Hamilton suggests using AI to improve stewards' decisions after Verstappen errors. After seeing crazy gap against Red Bull, Lewis Hamilton withdraws all Mercedes hope for 2024. James Bond isn't the only one who wants to drive an Aston Martin. Sergio Perez retires from Japanese Grand Prix, diminishing Red Bull's championship hopes. The highlight of Suzuka was Sergio Perez's 41-minute pit stop. And last but not least, Lewis Hamilton is up all night to get lucky. Definitely just referencing his helmet. Looks like the Daft Punk helmets.
Oh,
that's it. That's it.
Got it. No, I got the reference. Cool, I was just like, what is the connection here?
Yeah. That's it.
Cool helmet. I am wearing the collab he did last year in Japan.
Oh,
with Soriyama?
Yeah.
Nice.
No. Soriyama was this year.
Oh.
This was with Takashi Murakami. That's
right.
Yes.
No, that's cool.
Flower. I don't even know if you can see it on here. It's black on black.
Yeah, we can't, but
maybe it'll be more clear on the video. I love the collabs he does.
I know.
Yeah.
It's got some good stuff. Anyways, that was get the heck out of my headlines.
Race talk?
Shall we talk who's getting the participation trophy?
Participation trophy.
Our big losers, aka thanks for participating. This week. It was a wild race.
I mean, there were a
happened.
lot of DNFs.
A lot of DNFs.
Like, there was only 15 cars that finished the race.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And somehow 6 DNFs.
What?
Get it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Got it.
Because Checo DNF'd twice.
Oh. We'll come back to that.
Yeah. No, this is wild. It was wild. Yeah. And then beyond that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lapped cars. So 5 DNFs, DNF cars, and 5 lapped cars. So Max was ahead of 10 cars. It's very, Anyway, it was wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
So first, we're going to do a segment later to talk about the double DNF. So
Correct.
for now,
we'll talk about
just
that.
say Sergio Perez, thanks for participating.
Yes.
Thanks for participating. And actually, the biggest participation trophy of the year probably goes to Checo for participating in Red Bull's championship.
Honestly.
Yes.
Because, I mean, like, he didn't
need to be there.
There was even, like, a very awkward comment in the interview after the race from Christian Horner about, it's like, yeah, Sergio was part of that as well. Like, he's part of the team. It was a rough race for him, but, like, we won the championship, and he was part of that. Like, it's kind of sad, but
no,
it's true. So big participation award for Checo this year. And this race. It sucks though. He deserves better. He deserves a team that respects him. He just does.
Yeah. And he's been driving so much worse lately, and I get it because he doesn't have the support.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But he is now driving worse, so it is tough to
Right.
For real. Yeah. Definitely. Participation award. Stroll, yet again, another DNF. Well, at least he started this.
Well, at least he participated
in
this
start
race.
This one. He was well rested after missing last week.
Yeah. They didn't say much about why they had to retire the car. Part of me was like, he was so far back and he just didn't want to do it.
It's like,
I know they said at some point rear wing failure, because they said that to Alonso and to have him conserve a little bit. So yeah, Aston Martin just not looking good lately. Not at all.
No, they made some bad decisions for Alonso.
They did, and they had to make him conserve more.
What was his quote?
Oh, you fed me to the lions by stopping so early.
Yes,
fed me to the lions.
True. Fed me to the lions out here.
True. Yeah, ended up P8. Not terrible finish for him, but not great.
I mean, not great.
Not great for someone who started the year as the most consistent driver on the grid, was on the podium for the first 5 races. Just like, it's a bummer. It's a bummer. I really wanted to see him do better this year.
Yeah, I think they would have to come out with some good upgrades to get him back up there. But
yeah, their upgrades just never clicked. They started so strong, and everybody else's upgrades just worked better than theirs. It's too bad. Rough. So, come on, Aston Martin. Participate harder.
Seriously.
Thanks for participating.
Yeah, but thanks for participating. Double DNF for Williams as well. That's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really rough.
Yeah. I don't know.
What happened to Albon's car?
There was some contact, I think.
Right.
Pretty early. Yeah.
Was it like in the beginning?
Yeah. And I think it just like sort of got worse. Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but the driver cam from right behind it, you could see like his car like went like 45 degrees into the air.
Up. It was
it
wild.
was like this car should have spun out or flipped even.
Yeah.
But
right away.
Just came right back down and he got under control.
Yeah.
Yeah, the race start was chaotic.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. Very exciting, hard to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Definitely. Participation award to the FIA. As always, big losers for us. They've been so inconsistent lately. It's really obvious who they favor and who they don't want to do well. And then they're giving penalties surprisingly early or surprisingly late, and that makes it harder on teams to make a decision based on those penalties.
Right.
It's all over the place. And then the loophole for the DNF, which we'll get to later, and the penalties there, and they're not explained. Yeah, it's just confusing.
It is. It's so inconsistent, and it's so
and they're changing
aggravating
rules from race to race. Like they took away the minimum lap time in Singapore, and they brought it back in Suzuka, and it's just strange. They're not.
And did they explain why?
No,
of course not.
No. All the drivers did not want a minimum lap time, but they're like, no, we gotta have it.
We gotta have it. I'm the FIA. They're always a loser.
I don't see why for that rule.
Yeah. I'm going to say Alpine for making that silly decision at the end. I do want to talk about this.
Yeah. Can you explain that?
So, basically, because of how the race went and everything, Gasly was behind Ocon, but Gasly had better pace near the end of the race. And Ocon was behind Alonso, but he wasn't able to challenge for that position. So they gave team orders to flip Gasly and Ocon so that Gasly could take the fight to Alonso. That happened.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Yes. And then in the last lap of the race, Gasly hadn't been able to pass Alonso. That happens. He's a really good defensive driver, whatever. But then the team gets on the radio and is like, hey, switch back with Ocon since you're not going to pass Alonso. And Gasly was really confused and upset. And he's like, I just want to clarify that this is what you're telling me to do because it doesn't make any sense at all. And they were like, can confirm, switch places with Ocon. And so he was pretty pissed, said some things on the radio and gave the place back to Ocon. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense. The team result is exactly the same. And the point difference is not enough for you to say that, like, Ocon's doing better in the championship, but whatever.
Yeah. And Ocon's explanation...
That's a 1 point difference.
That, like, he was like, in his post-race interview, he said that that's how it's always been. If you were the one who was originally in front, but
Gasly was originally in front. He qualified ahead of Ocon in this race.
Yeah, but at the point of the decision where the team made orders...
Right, and if you're not able to...
He's going to pass because he can catch the next person. That's probably what they said, right?
Yes, exactly. And if you're not able to catch that next person, then you switch back.
But that's never been the case. If you have better pace, you stay ahead.
I mean, that's just what he said. That's what he said. That, like, that's how the team has always done it. I don't have the data to say whether that's true or not. Obviously, Gasly was not aware of that rule,
and it doesn't make any sense. It's like, honestly, you're kind of just increasing some risk there on the off chance that somebody's going to catch up because you're not pushing at the end, or like something goes off and you bump into each other because you're passing in a weird place and you didn't communicate it 100% perfectly, you know?
And you're just pissing off your drivers.
Yeah. And you're saying very clearly, even though you're driving better in this race and you're performing better in this race, and you probably could have passed Ocon on merit, but you didn't have to because we gave you that position, but you could have. You have to give the place back.
Yeah,
because we favor Ocon, not you.
I do see how it could be taken the other way, though. If they didn't do that, then it would be like, well, Gasly got more points than Ocon purely because of team orders. That's what would have been the case had they not done this.
Not necessarily true, because they only did those team orders to prevent racing on track between the two. because
Yes, that's
Gasly
true.
could have been racing Ocon and he would have gotten that position because he had better pace. He had fresher tires. He had better pace. That's just how it was. He started the race ahead of Ocon. His strategy was to put him ahead of Ocon. That's how they should have ended the race because that's how it was at the beginning. Everything that, like, according to strategy, like, you just don't do that. It just doesn't make sense. Like, why?
No. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
No, I
about race
think,
pace.
but I do think Ocon, like, I think no matter what, you would be upsetting a driver. I think Ocon would be upset by that.
True.
Sure, but it's only a 1 point difference, and it's more upset for me. It's more upsetting for Gasly. Like, that's the more upsetting position. It makes more sense if the car behind me has more pace and we're on a team. That car gets to go ahead of me and stay ahead of me because that's how that works with strategy.
Yeah, and I wonder if Ocon got on the radio and asked for this or what, because, like,
maybe
it does seem really weird for the team to just do that.
Right, because it was on the last lap.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't like it. So, boo Ryan Reynolds.
Boo Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for participating, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thanks for participating.
Exactly.
For sure. For sure.
Where would we put Mercedes?
I think they had a good race.
I think so too. I think George
actually
lost out a little bit.
They were giving participation energy, but they were trying hard.
They were. And honestly, those two fighting each other had some of the best racing of the race.
Yes.
Like, that was the most interesting racing. Like, clean.
Yeah.
Fighting each other.
Of course, like, George has something very snarky to say about it.
Right. Yeah. He's like, I'm fighting Lewis super hard for this position, but as soon as Lewis fights me back, I'm like, who are we fighting, each other or others?
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, redundant much. So funny.
George.
Yeah. But a big winner for his radio messages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Should we move on to winners?
Keeping us entertained.
Yeah.
Who's winning the meat raffle this week?
Who we were just talking about. I think Hamilton looked so good out there.
He did.
Obviously, not a big winner, but you can win some meat at the
you
meat
can
raffle.
win.
This is what we're saying now.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think it's a big win to say you've never finished lower than P5 on this circuit. That's huge.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. That's big, especially this year in this Mercedes.
He almost didn't get it this race.
True.
No, and he had to fight for it. He was really
he had to push.
He really did.
It was awesome.
And he did great. I honestly expected him to end up a little bit worse, but he had a great race. Yeah, it just worked out. It was nice. Yeah, George really messed up.
Well, the one-stop strategy was.
It was. I applaud the attempt and the risk he wanted to take, but it was a bad idea. The way that track was decorated.
He still got some points, He probably lost out on a couple points from that. I'm like,
well,
I mean, it wasn't a big loss. Where did he start?
He started ahead of Lewis.
Been higher.
Yeah,
sure.
But so he started ahead of Lewis, and his strategy put him behind in the end.
Oh,
it did because Lewis stopped twice, and he was taking the risk. It was his choice. He made that choice, and I applaud that. But it worked out worse for him. Yeah, he ended up P7. He probably should have been P5.
Right, but again, that's a 4-point spread. It's not horrible.
Right,
True.
they're still just
like
in the middle of the
points or something.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah, but still. So, but I'd say that they were at least they won something at the meat raffle.
Yeah,
they didn't win.
They won a prize, but not the.
Yeah, they got a small meat package. Oh man, remember meat raffles?
I mean,
it's like
not
fundraisers. Oh no,
I was just recently talking with people who I didn't know back then. Who we were talking about Al's in Columbia Heights.
Oh yeah, Al's was great.
Meat raffles. They had
alligator
specifically.
burger.
We were talking about the alligator burger.
The alligator burgers were great.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I missed that thing.
That place was so good. Yeah, but yeah, they had all the.
Still
meat
do
raffles.
the fried Uncrustables, which I was introduced to there.
They what? I didn't even know that.
They did deep fried Uncrustables for dessert. Deep fried Uncrustables tossed with cinnamon sugar and like a chocolate drizzle on top.
Whoa. That's
And
intense.
I do it all the time where I'll throw an Uncrustable in the air fryer and then just toss it with cinnamon sugar.
Amazing.
Delicious.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
That's fantastic. Okay, that
Anyways.
wins the meat raffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The winning prize at the meat raffle is a deep fried Uncrustable, actually.
Yes. I mean, that sounds amazing. So good. So funny.
I mean,
Ferrari looked fine, but I don't think they won.
they weren't winners.
No,
they
no.
weren't
I mean,
losers.
I think the big winners this week, aside from obviously we got to say Red Bull because Red Bull won the championship.
Yeah, we
They
got to
clinched
acknowledge
their championship. Max Verstappen was in his great form as per usual, and they clinched the championship. Very good for them.
Good job, I guess.
Yeah, they won the largest prize at the meat raffle by
They did.
far, but they bought a lot more tickets than anybody else.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
They're
Oh my
like,
God,
we're gonna
yes.
buy all the tickets, and the meat raffle was like, wait, but we have to give one to every other person on the grid, and they're like, fine, we'll buy every other raffle ticket available, and so yeah, they won.
LOL.
That's where they're
That's
at.
true.
So funny. It was surprising because like it felt so lackluster in terms of celebrating a championship win. Like even the team didn't seem that excited. It was just like
it was we known all
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
everybody did.
Yeah, it was
We did
like
it. We
this was
checked it
going to
off,
happen.
technically.
It was pretty much impossible for them not to win it at this point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and now all that happened is it is impossible for them not to win it.
Right.
Exactly. So, but
Well,
yeah, kind of.
They're saving their big celebrations for end of year. That makes sense.
Totally,
Mhm.
totally. But yeah, it's just going to be a boring rest of the season for them. Granted, they're still going to win every race.
I know.
Like, yeah, but
Yeah.
Max is.
They're gonna try.
anyways. And so,
They're
yeah,
not
Max
gonna
has the
flat out.
opportunity to win the Drivers' Championship next week in the sprint race.
Funny.
So if he wins the sprint race,
Ooh.
then he's champion.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
he
big
will
goal
be.
is,
Yeah.
Well,
And so
I don't
pretty
know.
much
I
no
think
matter what.
some people can fight him in a sprint.
No, I mean
By the end of the weekend.
By the end of the weekend, almost
Oh,
no
yeah.
matter what, he's winning the championship in Qatar. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But
Yeah. As long as he
maybe
doesn't
someone can hold
DNF
him.
both of those races.
Right. But if someone holds him in the sprint race, that'd be cool.
It'd
That would be cool.
And it pretty much has to be Checo, I guess, to beat him in the sprint race because that's the closest
Yeah.
contender for
Sure.
the championship.
Sure.
So that'd be the only chance is if Checo does better than him this
Checo has to
weekend.
do better, yeah.
Checo has to do better than him. Yeah. Because even if he doesn't win, but he gets points and Checo does worse, he'll win. Yeah.
Red Bull's not going to let Checo do
And
better
no,
than Max.
No, they won't. Even if he does, they would give team orders to have Max clinch the championship.
Yeah.
They would.
In the sprint.
And they should.
I mean, yeah, if you have the
Honestly,
opportunity.
at that point, if you have the opportunity to say definitively your driver's winning the driver's championship, you do
Why
it.
not?
You take that.
Yeah, but it'll happen. There's no reason
I
to do
think
it
that
early.
would happen, and it would make sense to me
Yeah.
personally.
We'll find out.
Okay, but
Let's talk about-
obviously, McLaren.
Yeah.
McLaren.
Yeah.
They're the big
Yes.
winners this week.
Yes,
Double podium.
absolutely.
I know.
Come on. Biggest winner, Oscar's mom.
Oscar's mom.
Oscar's mom.
Oscar's
Yes.
mom for getting flown out.
Oh, man.
Zach Brown won a meat raffle, bought her a ticket. She won a meat
Yeah.
raffle.
Yeah.
It's great.
Just meat raffle winners on meat
Absolutely.
raffle winners over here.
And Oscar's first podium.
I know.
Yeah.
I almost forgot he hasn't had a podium yet because he
I
really,
really thought in my head he
Right?
had.
Right?
Yeah.
We
He's been
say-
doing really good.
he's been doing so good since they had that upgrade. It's amazing.
Yeah, Oscar,
Yeah.
I think is I think Oscar could win a championship.
Oh, definitely.
He just has like
Yeah.
the mentality. I feel like,
Yeah.
and
Like,
is always
yeah.
like,
Honestly, like
Yeah.
McLaren is in, like they're in to be fighting for a championship right now.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Very soon.
If they could be next year, like honestly,
Yeah.
the way they're doing it, it's
I hope it is.
incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
The way they've
drivers
been
are amazing.
progressing.
The car's working. It's
Right? And it's so nice to see them in a place that they expected to be at the beginning of the year. And had they been there at the beginning of the year,
They
they
would have
probably
been.
would be fighting with Red Bull for the championship now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like,
And they would
'cause-
for sure be second, like or
Right?
fighting for second with everybody.
Yeah.
exactly. And they
With
are going to be
Mercedes,
pushing
probably.
to pass. Who was it? Aston Martin.
Aston Martin, I think.
Yeah, because they're
Which is-
very consistently driving ahead of both of those drivers. And Alonso's the only one getting Aston Martin points right now.
And it's
Yeah.
only like 1 or 2 points.
Yeah, right? Or
Mhm.
4.
Right.
Yeah, lately. So I do think McLaren might pass Aston Martin in the constructors and clinch that 4th spot.
That would be wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Given their start.
it'd be
to the year.
amazing. It'd be amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I love to see this.
They really could. Unless
Mhm.
Yeah.
Aston Martin does something. I don't know.
Definitely. And then next year, if they're in the same form and like tighten that gap to Red Bull, I think McLaren's going to be fighting with Red Bull for the championship, and I think both those drivers are going to be fighting for the championship.
Yeah,
I do.
I think so.
I do think Lando. I think Oscar has a little bit more time to really find himself in that car because he's not bringing it to the maximum potential, and it's
Yeah.
clear that Lando understands that car better.
Well, Lando's been with that team for so long.
exactly, but
Right. But
the way he's
level
driving
that
his rookie
Piastri-
season,
Yes. The level he's at when he clearly has
Yeah.
room to improve, that's what's
Yeah.
wild.
and he
Like,
knows it too.
He knows every
Yeah.
interview. He's like, yeah, I know I got P2 in qualifying, but it was an okay lap. There's definitely things
Literally.
to improve on.
He was on the podium this time, and he's like, "Not my best race."
Yeah. You're like, what do you
Like,
mean?
no, it was
It is.
literally,
It's
your
literally
best race.
Yeah.
He's like, "But
Just-
not my best race."
Yeah, it
Actually, your career best race, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally. So
Yeah.
silly. But I love it. I love seeing that from him. I love seeing his drive to just keep doing better and keep improving. And like,
Mhm.
yeah.
And he's
So
talking
focused.
like that, and then he is doing better every week. It's just
He is.
like,
Yeah. He's like, I know where I need to improve. I
Calculated.
know there's this many more things. And like, Lando's much better than me for
Mhm.
now.
For now.
For now. Yeah. He's so good. I'm very excited for them.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. Oh, fun fact. So Lando was the first rookie driver since 2017 to get. Oh, no. Piastri was the first rookie driver since 2017 to be on the podium. In
Whoa.
2017, that rookie driver on the podium was Lance Stroll, which is so weird to me.
Whoa.
I know, because we were talking about it, and I was like, Josiah was like, who would you guess would be the most recent rookie to be on the podium?
Yeah.
I was like, well, it's got to be like Max or Hamilton.
Right.
He's like, no, 2017, Lance
Lance
Stroll.
Stroll.
I was like, what?
Wow.
Weird. And I think that was Force India.
Yeah.
What?
And like,
I would-
do think that I think
Well,
Lance
no,
is
it might have
worse
been
than he's
AlphaTauri.
been. Like, I think Lance has been going through phases of doing not that bad. Like, he hasn't always
Totally.
been the worst
Yeah.
driver on the grid, you know?
Absolutely.
Totally. And I don't think he's the worst
just
driver.
really
on the
off
grid
right now.
Well, I don't know.
No, but he's pretty off.
Yeah.
He might be because, like, when you talk about the other worst
Worse
drivers,
than Sargent.
they're in worse cars.
They're
True.
in way worse
And
cars.
they're
Yeah,
rookies.
yeah.
Like Logan is a rookie in one of the worst cars on the grid,
Yeah.
and
Right.
Stroll is doing worse than him lately.
In a very good car. Right.
In a great car. Well, I mean, not a great car anymore, but
But a very
what
good
was a great car. And he just like when you talk about gap to your teammate in a car, like his is the
Yeah.
greatest.
That's
over
true.
the course of the season, like
No,
the
no,
gap
you're
between
right.
teammates is that Aston Martin. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other winners?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Driver of the day. The
Who-
official driver of the day was Piastri? No?
Oh, really?
I think so.
Funny. I respect that.
You disagree.
Well, yeah. I mean, because like literally, Lando drove better than him. Like
Yes,
technically,
same car Lando did
Same
do better.
car.
Started
Sure.
farther
Lando
back.
started behind him, ended up ahead of him because he had more pace. He drove better. He just
Yeah,
did. So
I think Lando's got to be up there for me.
oh,
He drove so well from beginning to end. Just
Lando's
That start,
Yeah.
he had a great start.
the
Lando's been
start was wild.
in good
Yeah.
form lately. He's
Like he just came out of nowhere and was like right
it
side
was
by
a
side with
beautiful
Max.
start. Yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly,
Yeah.
both of them had a great start, and Max didn't
did.
have the best start and
Mhm.
was like, let me defend against Oscar. And Lando's like, cool, let me
I'll just
Yeah.
let me make this
swoop
move
on
then.
in.
Beautiful. Smart driving all around.
Yeah.
It was great.
And I think Hamilton was fun to watch a lot of the race.
Hamilton was really fun to watch.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was going to say Lando or Lewis would be my drivers of the day.
Yeah, me too.
But I definitely respect
I
giving it
like
to
Oscar
Yeah.
as driver of the day.
'Cause,
Rookie,
Yeah.
first podium.
Rookie podium. I love it.
That's fun.
And he had a great race and
Yeah.
a great weekend.
And Oscar, I feel like, will never celebrate himself. So I'm glad that other people
Yeah.
are celebrating.
Yeah,
He's
that's true.
so humble.
Yeah, and I do think through like pit stops and stuff for a little bit he was farther down and had some good fights too
Mhm.
along the way, which
Mhm.
Totally.
I think he had a little more of that than Lando did.
Yeah,
to
Lando
be
had
fair,
more clear
but-
air, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm not mad at Oscar.
No.
No, totally.
I'm very happy with that. And I do think he deserves it. I think he deserves that
Yeah.
recognition. So super fun.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Fun to see.
Well, so we didn't have a question of the day, but we do want to take a deeper dive into
The double DNF.
the double DNF.
Double DNF.
Yeah.
Checo's double DNF.
So if you didn't watch the race, excuse me, you may have heard about it, but Checo Perez had a weird race. One, he's been driving desperate.
So poorly.
very poorly lately.
Making big mistakes.
Yeah, he made a very bad move in Singapore on Alex, which caused Alex to drop back a lot, and he got a 5-second penalty, but it didn't mean anything for him. He stayed in the same position. And this week he made the same bad move on
Last
Magnussen.
week he also ran into Yuki in the first lap. And that's
and
why
he also
Yuki,
did that. Yeah. Yeah, he's just been driving erratically and like driving desperate. Like
Yeah,
I
you
think
can tell.
it's so clear that he knows that the team doesn't want him anymore, and he's just really trying to overprove himself, and it's not good for his
sad.
mental. So
yeah, he's getting in his head.
yeah, he
Yeah,
is. He's getting in his
totally.
head. He's making bold, bad decisions
Mhm.
on the racetrack and thinking like, oh, I have the better car, so I should make this weird move that nobody would ever try, and it should work for me, and they'll give me the space because why fight with a Red Bull? And it's like, that's not exactly how it goes. You still have to be you still have to make your smart decisions and make good moves.
I mean,
you can't lunge up the inside when you're that far behind somebody and expect them to give you the room. They may not have the grip to give you the room.
and he literally
Yeah, it's
turned
such a
into
tight
Magnussen.
corner too.
Yeah.
Like it was like
Right?
that's not he needed to be cutting right there.
Yeah,
Right?
There's no way.
and he pulled that move twice this race, and one time it ended up working out fine, but with Magnussen it ended up being bad. And then they both lose out, and then he causes the crash, and then he ends up having to retire the car
Mhm.
because there's enough damage on it that they're like, this isn't worth it. Let's retire the car. They retire the car. He gets out for
Wait,
a long
the team
time.
made that call, right?
The team
Yeah.
made that call
To retire. Okay.
to retire the car.
Mhm.
Now, because of that crash, well, and he
With
had
Magnussen. He had another one too.
he had
though.
another penalty before that because he passed a car under a safety car while going into the pit lane. There was a lot of
Right.
confusion about that during the race. They thought maybe it was when he exited the pit lane because he did pass a few cars, but he ended up giving those places back. I don't know why he passed them in the first place. That was weird. But because obviously you can't do that. You're
Right.
not allowed to pass people under a safety car. But apparently he sped up to go into the pit lane and he passed the line that you're not supposed to before the car ahead of him while he was going into the pit lane and the car ahead of him was continuing on the track. That was where that penalty came from.
And so he served that penalty before he DNF'd.
Yes,
first
before
time.
he DNF'd the first time. So then he hits Magnussen, has to retire the car, at which point the FIA is like, well, we're giving you a penalty for causing a collision. And so if you're retired, that means the penalty applies in the next race or something along those lines. I think it would end up being a grid penalty, something like that.
Sure.
I'm not sure exactly how that works. But Red Bull then is like, well, we don't want to serve that penalty in the next race. So let's get the car back out there, serve the penalty, and then retire the car again. This was the confusing part to me because
why are they allowed to
very illegal? Like,
yeah, because remember,
very illegal,
right? Remember last year at Silverstone when Zhou Guanyu had that crash?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, George Russell gets out of the car to make sure that
check on him.
He's okay, and he helps out. He makes sure that Zhou Guanyu is alive, and then he tries to get back into his car to do the race because it was a red flag. And he was off the track anyways, so he's like, well, the car stopped. Let me just go make sure this guy's okay. And
like in a sheer moment of panic,
absolutely.
I'm sure.
Like, and honestly, just doing the right thing. Yeah, just being a good person. And so he tries to get back in the car.
Retire the car.
And they were like, you can't get back in the car and drive it. That's illegal.
They're like, this is a very straightforward, clear rule. You
when
get out of the car, you
don't
get back in.
You cannot get back in the car and rejoin the race. So this is what confused me because they retired Checo. He got out of the car.
He fully got out of the car.
And then he got back in the car and was allowed to rejoin the race after he already DNF'd. So apparently there's some loophole that it didn't quite cover that. Like if you get out of the car in the garage, I guess technically that's okay.
But why would that be okay?
Don't know.
And why wouldn't you make, if you can make that exception for this time, why wouldn't you make that exception for George?
Well, it's just not explicitly stated in the rules is the thing.
Sure.
But that's
in the guidelines.
But I thought, but if the rules are getting out of the car,
if you get out of the car on track, and you can't get back in the car on track. But if you get out of the car in the garage, there's no rule about it because they just didn't specify that.
Okay,
I think that's what it is.
See that.
Yeah. So I did see something that says that the FIA is going to try and close that loophole for the future because that shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. It doesn't make any sense.
No. And like, it's just so brutal for Checo. That's so
it is
so
demoralizing.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. He was in the garage out of the car for 40 minutes before they put him back out there. And it's like, you're not finishing this race. You know you're not finishing this race. This was probably the worst race of your career.
The full plan was to put him back out, serve a penalty, pull him back. Like that was all explicitly the plan.
That was explicit. Yeah, that was very obvious. That was it. And they did that. So they sent him back out. They had him sitting in the car for so long.
He was sitting there for so long.
I don't know why that took forever, but before they sent him back out. But then they sent him back out. He came in, boxed, served a penalty in a pit stop, went out for one more lap, and then they retired the car. So he did 2 laps at the end there. Very, very confusing. Very, very confusing.
And it's like at this point, like you won the constructor, or I mean, I guess you didn't, it wasn't fully confirmed, but you were on track to confirm the Constructors' Championship. Why is it such a big deal to just serve the penalty at the next race?
Like, just
like, why?
But like,
take that.
I get it if they got that information, saw the loophole, and were like, "Yes,
just do it.
This is just gonna be better, and it's legal. Let's just do it."
Technically, yeah.
I get it.
I guess my question is, what do we think about this rule in general? Do we think it should exist in the garage and on the track, or neither? Like,
I don't see why this would be allowed. I think obviously it is somewhere, but like, if like, what does retiring a car mean? I thought that was like a hard commitment,
right?
right.
You can't just unretire a car.
Yeah.
I guess that seems even weirder than just getting out of the car. It's like the car, if you've determined that the car can no longer run,
right? Or it's not worth running it.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way it should be allowed.
No. It doesn't make sense. But if a car stopped on track you should be able to start it again if you can,
Yes.
even if you get out, I think.
Yeah, I
But
think so too.
yeah, I don't know. I'm
just so wild
Yeah.
the difference in experience between the two drivers on that team for that race. One of them
You mean-
clinches
Oh,
the
yeah.
drivers the constructors championship, and the other one has a double DNF.
Double DNF, yeah. Red Bull gets a double DNF and wins the
Right?
championship.
Yeah.
It's like, wow,
So silly.
clearly you're invested in one of them over
Yeah.
the other.
Absolutely. Any other points on that, I guess?
No.
That was
I don't think
definitely
so.
one of the more interesting parts of the race, though, for sure. It was
Yeah.
wild.
It was wild.
confusing.
Strange.
Very strange. And just that shot of, like, there was the camera angle was just on Max doing a pit stop, and then it pivots and it just zooms in on Checo just sitting in his car in the garage waiting to go out.
Just waiting to go out to take his penalty and DNF
Oh.
again.
Brutal.
So much respect to that cameraman, though.
Right?
Oh, definitely.
Great shot.
That was a prime shot. He made the right call there. But it was brutal to watch. It was like, oh no, oh no. But thank you.
Yeah. Oh man.
Genius.
What a race.
For real. Fun race. Oh, I gotta say, biggest winner of the meat raffle this week, though, honestly, the fans. It was the fans. They were great.
Fans.
They were so fun. You had groups of people with the Valtteri Bottas baby picture.
I know.
The hats across the board, the outfits, the enthusiasm, the fans.
The fans.
Yeah.
The fans.
The Suzuka fans.
They
I would
win the
love
meat
to go to
raffle.
that race.
Oh, that'd be cool. 2 weeks and then Qatar?
Qatar.
Cool.
Yeah.
Qatar.
Very good.
Feels like a long time since we've been in Qatar. Oh, yeah, it has. Because I think it was one of the first races in 22. And now it's one of the later races. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because I
That's
think
weird.
it was one of the
Right?
later races in 2021, and then one of the first races in 2022.
No, one of the
and then
later
one of the
races.
later races in 2023. So we almost had them back to back, and then like a full year off.
Weird.
Yeah,
That is weird.
more than a full year off. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Cool,
I don't
though.
understand that stuff.
No, the schedules are very confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Qatar and then to the States.
to the States.
Yeah. Fairly well, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.